they don't think about, oh, I'm gonna walk to work because it's gonna be good for my health. I'm gonna eat the vegetables from my garden because it's good for my health. Their environment is set in a way that they have to do these things. So their environment is also supporting their health. And what's happening today in our modern world is that our environment is making the unhealthy decisions easy and the healthy decisions hard. From that concept, they started also working with communities in the US. So right now they work with more than 70 cities in the US to help shape the environments to make the healthy choice the easy choice. And that goes from um, policies, so people.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Social Hotelier podcast with me, Sam-Erik Rutmann. In this episode, we're going to talk about the Blue Zone retreats. You probably have seen on Netflix this series of Blue Zone and been inspired about how people are living in different areas and gives them a very healthy lifestyle and they live longer than most people around the world. And of course, this has an impact on the wellness industry. And what we are trying to achieve today is to talk about the differentiating the Blue Zone retreats in a very saturated market. So we're talking I have a guest who's an expert in this area. So we'll talk about the uniqueness of Blue Zone retreats, and then we'll talk about the proliferation of wellness retreats, and finally regulation and quality control in the retreat industry. So my guest today is Celine Vadam. She's the founder and CEO of a well-being concept consultancy, WE, that's in capital letters, and I in brackets, think has more than a decade of expertise in hospitality, tourism, and wellness spas, food and beverage, and residential development. And she is also a certified integrated health coach from the Institute of Integrated Nutrition. And more importantly, for today's topic, she's involved with the official Blue Zone certified retreats. So welcome, Celine, and thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Sam-Erik. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, I'm always glad to learn something new in our episodes. If you have been on my podcast a few times, and so it's always a pleasure. So thanks for being again today.
Thank you.
So let's start with the uniqueness of Blue Zone retreats. Talk about what sets the Blue Zone retreats apart from the myriad of wellness retreats available in the market today. I'm sure there's a lot of them.
There are a lot of them, and I think the added value of Blue Zones retreats, it comes from the easiness and also the approachable factor of the Blue Zones principles. So when you do a Blue Zones retreat, it's a very holistic approach that doesn't that really leaves you flexibility to integrate the principles into your own life, how it suits you. So to give you an example, the principles are quite they are strong enough to be impactful, but at the same time they are broad enough to be able to leave you um, the flexibility to choose what's best for yourself. So you have a principle around moving naturally. So it doesn't mean you need to go to the gym or to do yoga every day, or so you can choose how you want to move. Eating wisely. So the food in the blue zones areas is mainly plant based. There are principles about downshifting, which is relaxing and finding time every day to downshift and relax. And again, you can see that in different ways. It can be having a walk in nature, it can be meditation, etc. um, there's a principle around having a sense of purpose. And there are scientific studies that show that having a reason to wake up in the morning is very important for people to live a long and healthy life. So, and then also, sorry to take a step back, because when directly into the topic, but maybe there are people who don't know what Blue Zones is. So Blue Zones is a company now that's done some research for the past 2 decades on the areas in the world where people live the longest. It was started by a journalist from National Geographic called Dan Bittner, who wrote several books, and he gathered some researchers to go to these areas. And what they found in the research that they were doing is that these areas where there was like a big concentrations of centenarians, they are like, even if these places were like scattered around the world, so one is in Japan, one in Greece, one in Italy, one in Costa Rica, and one in the US, in California. So even though they were scattered, they have the foundations of their lifestyle were similar. And that's what they highlighted in the Power of Nine principles, which are moving naturally, downshifting, having a sense of purpose, belonging. So the importance of having a community, um, putting your loved one first, eating well. There's this thing called wine at five, which is in certain region really like having a glass of red wine at five. But it's also, but behind that is, at the end of the day, like gathering with your friends and family, and yeah, celebrating the day, debriefing the day. um, and then I think I'm missing two. Um, and which are the two I'm missing? Like, I got I got lost in the explanation. Anyway, the thing is, yeah, I'm having the right outlook, and um,
Well, that's a good list
yeah,
already
that's a
that you're
good list
preparing.
already. The plan, yeah, 80% full. So eating until you're at 80% full. So
Oh, that's a good lesson.
exactly, eating plant-based, majority plant-based, and until you're 80% full. So
Yeah,
the yeah, so from this research, um, another point that were made is that these places people don't um, they don't they don't think about, oh, I'm gonna walk to work because it's gonna be good for my health. I'm gonna eat the vegetables from my garden because it's good for my health. Their environment is set in a way that they have to do these things, so their environment is also supporting their health. And what's happening today in our modern world is that our environment is making the unhealthy decisions easy and the healthy decisions hard. So
yeah.
from that like concept, they started also working with communities in the US. So right now they work with more than 70 cities in the US to help shape the environments to make the healthy choice the easy choice. And that goes from um, policies, so people can't smoke in the street, for example, or working with restaurants to work on the portions of the food, and also making sure there are like plant options in the menus. It's working with the city to create walking lanes so people can walk, or places for people to gather and socialize. So it's really sees the environment, like the extensive environment, from the environment at home. And in the books there's a lot of tips on how to improve your home, your bedroom, etc., to make these choices easier, like your kitchen. Don't put the bag of crisps on the kitchen table, put it in a cupboard like far away, so if you want a snack, if the fruits are on the table, you will take the fruit because the crisps are so difficult to take. So you will go to the easy options. Or we like to go to the option that's easier. So if you put the healthy options to be the easiest one, you will be more tempted to take it.
Okay, very good. So, I mean, if you you join, you have decided that this blue zone retreat is for me, and what kind of result could I expect, or transformation can I expect if I join this blue zone retreat that I may not expect experience somewhere else?
So the Blue Zones retreats are very hands-on, and they are not just getting some knowledge about how to improve your health and lifestyle, but it's also a lot of practical, like life coaching type of exercises on, okay, like you this is what you can do. How can you implement that into your life? Let's pause and let's reflect on, like we have a module on putting your loved one first, and within this module we are looking at really concrete options, like who are your loved ones, who do you like to spend time with, who do you want to spend more time with. Okay, let's have a look at your calendar. In a week, who do you spend time with? Do you spend enough time with the people you really want to spend time with? And are there people you're spending time with that you don't really want to spend that much time with? And how can you reshuffle things so you spend more time with the people you really want to spend time with and less time with the people you don't want to spend time with? And sometimes
Yeah.
that's all we need, like taking the time to pause and to reflect on very like practical things like that, and see how we can make changes or shifts. We have a module on purpose, and within this module we are having some exercises also about defining our purpose, because each person will have a different purpose, each person will have different gifts to reach that purpose. So how can we transcend that to go into the path that will make us the happiest and more fulfilled?
Yeah, they're very good. I mean, those are very important values, and to have a purpose in your life. And I mean, then it's easier to when you wake up in the morning to uh, plan your day, or you already planned the day before, and but then you just know where. But loved ones is a very important part. I mean, what is in what ways do the blue zones retreats incorporate the social and community aspects of blue zone regions? Because I think that's very important from what I saw on the Netflix series. And why is this important?
It's very important, and it's very important, and there are some research showing that people who have friends and who have like a strong social network live longer. We are social beings, and we need to have friends, we need to have people around us. We are not made to live in a cave and don't see anyone for months. This is not how humans are made. And um and the social aspect in the retreats is really is taken care of by the different activities we're doing. So there's a lot of um type of, like mindfulness or lifestyle or like coaching games that we're doing together. There's like so the idea with Blue Zones retreats, they are not necessarily happening in the Blue Zones areas. So like I'm actually leaving on Friday to deliver a Blue Zone retreat in Mexico, and the week after in Costa Rica. So I'm very excited about that. And the retreats will be very different in each place, because we really want to reflect the local culture, the local heritage and wisdom, and also like socialize around those things. And that's the beauty of what I was mentioning before about these blue zones principle, is that they can be interpreted in different ways. So downshifting in Mexico, so we have this partnership with the Modern Elder Academy, MEA, and their curriculum is based on midlife, how to transition and navigate midlife, what to do, and how to find your purpose when you're an empty nester and you've been living all these years for your kids and giving all all you can to your kids, and then they're gone and they don't need you as much anymore. So how do you shift your purpose? So we joined forces, and we're doing a retreat together. And part of the activities, the bonding activities there are, um, there's some surfing, there's some bread making, there's some like walks on the beach. So there are different activities that are made based on the location in Costa Rica. Because I'm also a breathwork practitioner, we're gonna do the purpose workshop, and we will link to that, um, like a cacao, not like to call it ceremony, because we don't cacao ceremony don't really exist normally. It's more like cacao, um, yeah, like breathwork and cacao, um, like healing properties linked together, and linked with the thematic of finding your purpose. We're gonna go and visit a local farm where the partner hotels. So we are doing this at the Andas in Peninsula Papagayo, and they're working with a finca in Costa Rica, for like not far from the hotel, where they grow the fruits and vegetables. So we're going there, and then picking some ingredients, and then do like a cooking class around it. So we have like different bonding experiences. We're doing a retreat in Japan in October, in Okinawa, an original blue zones. And there we're gonna do some karate and some tea ceremony, and visiting the local area. So really getting inspiration from all of these different places. And yeah, so it's not just learning how to live healthier and better, but also making like-minded friends, and also discovering a new place.
Wonderful. I have to say, I envy you. I mean, you're going to Mexico, Costa Rica, and then you go to Japan for all this. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one thing is that, of course, with this blue zone, now these have been picked up by a lot of wellness operators, and with this, it's a boom. And with the current boom in wellness retreats, what are the primary advantages for consumers seeking these experiences? I mean, you clearly mentioned what the blue zone
Mhm.
retreats are about, but and I mean, probably there's a very obvious question, or maybe an obvious answer to what are the primary advantages that the customer will walk away with once they have joined one of those retreats.
So that will probably sound funny, but the Blue Zones principles as are based on studying centenarians. So people who have like hundreds of years of experiencing life and having like certain habits, etc. And when you look at, or like when you think about having results, um, you have all these research, and the blue zones are scientific based, but also like we have this idea sometimes in wellness that like a fit 20-year-old is the goal we want to achieve to live like a long and healthy life. But if we have a more pragmatic approach, I would rather see like what is this person who is 100 years old and is looking like super fit, like like healthy mentally, having friends and doing some really cool stuff. I think that's more the goal you want to reach, because this shows that like the things that this person do is really tasting, how do you say, like going like long lasting in terms of results. And it's not
Yeah.
just like these fake diets, or these like this is the new trend today, let's try to do this. I think it is also like very inclusive, and I found that because at the end of the day, the principles for a healthy life are easy and very, and they are the same for everybody. You need to eat
Yeah.
well, you need to sleep well, you need to socialize, you need to take care of your mental health. So like take some time to relax and have something to that makes you wake up in the morning. So the base principles for a healthy and long life are the same for everyone. But what
Yeah, yeah,
the wellness industry is doing right now is putting a packaging that is exclusive, and that is not really leaving space to try different things. So, oh, like let's join the CrossFit movement, and from now on, you're gonna just do CrossFit, and you're just gonna follow this special, like hyper proteinated diet, and or like go to the yoga, and from now you're just gonna do this type of yoga, and so like it's trying to put some boxes, and then you have to go inside this box and just follow these things. And what I really like about blue zones, but also about the opportunities that the wellness industry create and gave me, since I was really like getting curious about all the different modalities, is that it's an endless learning adventure, because there are so many things to learn, there are so many things to try, and as long as you're curious and you're trying and tasting different things, seeing what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and it's kind of really opening the box instead of closing the box. And I think that's the beauty of the Blue Zones principles, is that we're really opening to you the box of the wellness and lifestyle tools that you can use within this like strong pillars for like a healthy and long life.
yeah. Well, you've been around in wellness for quite a long time, but if you would pick up maybe just one key or couple of points that has opened your eyes now since you have joined these Blue Zone retreats, what are maybe some key points for you personally that has that you have learned, if you will?
Key points I have learned. I think one very big discovery for me was the power of our breath. And like now being a breathwork facilitator, I've learned about different breathing techniques, etc. And the the breathing is what we do naturally every day, all the time, and it's the thing that we really don't understand, we don't really know much about. And there's so much power on our breath to help us regulate our nervous system, regulate our body, and there's so much value in knowing, I think, in knowing our breath. Then I think that like a big knowledge that I think also everybody should learn about is learning about our bodies. We have courses, at school you have biology courses, but they don't really teach you like how to use your brain, how things work. And by studying that, it really opens a lot of like we use our brain. It's like using a computer at 10% of its capacity. This is
Yeah,
really what how we're using our brain. It's such a powerful tool, and we're really using just a little bit of it. There's so much
yeah.
that we can do once we start using our brains in an effective way, and knowing all the hacks and how we can use it more efficiently. um,
But I mean, you made a very valuable point about breathing. I just got conscious about my own breathing while you were speaking. That that is a really an important aspect to learn the proper breathing techniques and so on. I think just for that purpose to go to one of those retreats is that you start to learn what is a good way to breathe and how this affects actually your body and your whole metabolism and your system is such a very important lesson.
Yeah, and that goes with how our mind works, because like there's something called the stress cycle, and it's like the pattern that we go through when we are triggered by something. And this stress pattern is based on a pattern that we get from like prehistoric era, where they were really like life threatening events happening, and we had to react quickly to these events Otherwise we would be killed, or it was a real threat to our lives. And in today's age, we still have the same stress cycle, but we are applying it to events that are not life threatening. It can be an email, it can be a comment on Instagram, it can be arguing with someone, but we're still using the same patterns. And the issue with that is that the stress cycles um, trigger some specific hormones, it triggers some specific actions in our bodies. And when you have them like once in a while activated, it's fine. But when you have that activated all the time, that's where it's not healthy, because our bodies, instead of focusing on repairing ourselves, doing, like doing the normal job that they have to do, it's focusing on like constantly being on alert, constantly like trying to see, okay, there's this, like what do we do, what do we do? So it's like putting our body in constant, like, like red alert. And that's
Yeah.
when stress becomes unhealthy. That's when we start having like chronic disease. And because our body is constantly, it's constantly triggered. And that's how, like,
Oh,
learning how our mind work is important. And of course
absolutely.
the can I say four?
Sure.
Because nutrition is also something very important. And today this is such a messy topic. And we don't really know what to trust, because there are so many different opinions that are like going in every directions. You should eat this, you should eat that. No, it's such a mess. Also, the other thing is that uh, it's really hard to try to, and it's really unfortunate, but today it's very hard to trust the food industry to have our best interest in mind,
You are
because
right.
there are so many crap, so many bad thing chemicals that they're putting into our food, that right now, and that's really a big concern. But today we can't trust the food industry, because what the food industry wants is to make the most profit possible, and they don't care about the people being healthy. They don't care if the products that they put in our foods are making us addictive and sick. They don't really care about that. So it's a very big issue, and that's very damaging for a lot of people. And like the view I have on that is that um, to try, like I'm all, like, I think wellness should be a quest of curiosity and seeing
Yeah.
what works best for you, because we all have different um, metabolisms or reactions to different things. And one person will say, I'm vegan and I'm super good and healthy. Great. Doesn't work for everybody. And other diets the same. So yeah, test and try. And also read the labels of the labels of food, because it's important, because it's an industry that can't be trusted.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I also read the labels, and if there's a word in there that I don't fully understand, then I reconsider whether I should buy that
Yeah,
product.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And then I would say, as a woman, the last one would be knowing my own, like, cycles, my own biological um, cycles, because I think that it's something that it's so um, like, for like, and I remember being a teenager, and this is something that was seen as dirty, something that you shouldn't talk about this, or as something to be ashamed of. But actually it's something beautiful, because this is what allows women to give life. If we didn't have these ways of functioning, we wouldn't be able to procreate. That's as simple as that. And
yeah,
it's something that is really misunderstood by everybody, both by men and by women. And I think that it's a conversation that should be more open for everybody as well. And the impact that, knowing the impact it has, knowing like about hormones and how hormones work and how they impact so many different things on your body, your mood, your productivity, like a lot of things. And knowing that is really empowering, because then that the same as with the mind and the same as with your with nutrition, once you have at least the key elements, you can work around it, you can work with it instead of trying constantly to work against it. And a lot of the wellness industry today is working against things. So we working against our weight. We want to weight less, but we're not working with our body to control it, understand what's going on. We're working against our body, like we I don't want to look like this anymore, so I'm gonna like force you to look the way I want you to look. Or and that's the also the thing that is coming from the blue zones, is like trying to work with what we have, understand it, and going and working with it, instead of trying to always like working against ourselves basically.
Yeah. Okay. Very, very important points, and I really like what you talked about, understanding the hormones and the body, and fully appreciate who we are, but also listen carefully about the body, and carefully this uh, the diet and what we are eating, and also there's a performance challenge everybody has in the industry to look a certain way and so on, and which is very unhealthy. And I think really have to speak up, and that's a kind of nonsense we have to get over with. And uh, I would feel sorry for teenagers who are living in that world, who have to look the certain way in order to be accepted. So, but anyway, that is a topic for some other
Or
episode, but I'm glad you brought it up. But then the last part of when we talk about the blue zone retreats and so on, there's a regulation and quality control, or regulation and quality control in the retreat industry. How does the lack of regulation in the wellness retreat industry affect the overall quality and safety of these experiences? Have you noticed some worrying issues about this?
Yes, I have, because right now it's easy to have certificates in everything and anything on internet, and some are legit and some are not really legit. And when I hear some people like who've done some like a training to do to be a life coach, for example, and I hear about how they're talk to people, I'm like, ooh, you missed the part about safe creating a safe space in your in your course. Or even, like when I did my yoga teacher training, there was a lot of emphasis on touch, like how you can or cannot touch people, getting authorizations and everything. And this is a big thing, especially in the US. And then you go to a class in Europe, and they kind of like take you everywhere, and it's like you didn't have that part of the training. So yeah, like breathwork, breathwork facilitate, like breathwork session I did, and the person was saying like 99% of my clients have having like hypertrophy, and I'm like, this is not a good thing, like you shouldn't have that. So I guess that and the issue as well, like with the industry today, is that it's not regulated. And the thing that's regulating it, it's Instagram. Like how many followers do you have? Oh, you have that many followers, so you must be good, you must be legit. But no, like there are some people that have a lot of following and that are not safe, I would say, like in the really um like really big definitions of safety. So, and hopefully they never had any trouble and they never had any issue. But I think that there's a lot of responsibility to practitioners and people doing retreats, because like when you do a class, it's 1 hour, it's you can do damage to people, but it's 1 hour. When you do a retreat, it's a few days. You're in immersion, and um, you don't know what can comes up from the participants. Like traumas can comes up. Like old wounds can come up, etc. Like it can be very intense emotionally. So it's not just the safety in terms of making sure no one gets hurt physically. It's also making sure no one gets hurt or more hurt or re-traumatized emotionally. And this is, I
Yeah.
think, the like a very big topic that is not always taken into consideration, and that's something that's, I guess, hard to see on Instagram as well. Like if the person that's gonna do this thing is gonna really create a space and have the capacity as well to hold these emotions for people. Like um, I think not everybody can stay like calm and like safe when you have people crying next to you, or when you have people having like really deep emotional reactions. And this is something that is very important.
Yeah. So I have just two more questions for you, Celine. One is that what measures can a consumer take to ensure they are selecting a reputable and effective retreat uh, among those in this non-regulated market? What should maybe some tips what they should pay attention to?
I think it's good if you can to have recommendations or to talk to people who've been with these practitioners. Maybe also have a bit of discussions with them before, to make sure that they are the right person, and that they will bring you what you need. And so I think that would be my, yeah, like number one recommendation. And um, maybe see also who else is going, and if it's the kind of tribe that you would like to go with. For Blue Zones retreats, there are a lot of people right now that are claiming to do Blue Zones retreats because they've seen the documentary, which won some Emmy awards. I think we won 5 Emmy awards, which is great, like 2 days ago. Or who read the book, and they using what they've read in the book, and to say that they are not doing Blue Zones retreats, but the only like official Blue Zones retreats are the one that you can find on the bluezones.com/retreats website. These are the ones that are official, that um, I build together with the team. Like we build the content together based on the research, and so these are the only Blue Zones retreats. We just launched a course with the Arizona State University, where people can learn about Blue Zones and get a certificate. And this certificate doesn't allow you to host official Blue Zones retreats. It's the first stage. We're working on something like for coaches to deliver official Blue Zones retreats, but right now you would have to cope with me for 1 week if you want to do a Blue Zones retreat. And yeah, so check like the issue too with the wellness industry today is that also we need to also check the credibility of the certifying body. Like you might have like a bunch of certificates, but check where the people had their certificates. Check if the teacher they had like what kind of yoga is a good example. There are so many like yoga certifications around there, and being certified by the Yoga Alliance doesn't mean anything, because the only thing they look at is if you have in the curriculum certain topics, but they don't really verify the full content, and it's just the curriculum that they check. So it's not even like a stamp of trust that this is a good training. So do your research.
Very good. Yeah. So I think number one is that do your research. Of course, ask a friend who has been to one of those retreats. What was their experience? Study this on various sources where you can. That you're getting the full information, and because these are quite costly, and it's worthwhile to that you want to come out of those things, that you gain something, and you are looking forward to another one. So finally, Celine, if people want to reach out to you and to find out more about what you're doing, how can they do so?
So you can follow me on social media, on Instagram. I have my personal Instagram at Celine Vadam, um, or I have my like coaching brand Instagram, which is at Retrouvailles. And yeah, I guess that's the easiest way to like follow me and see what I'm doing. Or you can also go to my website, retrouvailles.com, or weaving.com is more for companies or hospitality. For individuals, retrouvailles.com might make more sense. And or you can go also to bluezones.com/retreats to see like what retreats we have in the pipeline.
Celine, thank you very much. I appreciate you joining today's episode, and thanks for all your fantastic insights. Thanks for joining us this week on The Social Hotelier Show. Make sure to visit our website, The Social Hotelier Show, blueberry.net, where you can subscribe to the show in Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Play, or via RSS, so you never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we appreciate a rating in Apple Podcast. Or if you simply tell a friend about the show, that will help us out too. Be sure to tune in for our next episode.